Hey, what's up? I am wanting to talk to you about a different organelle today. And if you remember cells, they have like little mini organs inside of them, okay? And so the last one we talked about was the cell membrane. And that controls what goes into and out of the cell. And I thought we'd talk about a really special one. Not every cell has it, but let's talk about the chloroplast. Now, the word chloro is, for Latin and Greek root words, it means green. Telling, do you know? Okay. Plast means living substance. So a chloroplast is a green living thing stuff, right? And the ones that have these chloroplast as organelles are bacteria. They've had it probably longer than any other living thing. And then we also have protists, which are single-celled. Sometimes like big colonial multicellular things. And then plants have chloroplast as well, but animals and fungus do not. There are no chloroplast in animals and fungus. So, yeah, what makes it special? Well, first, and probably the craziest thing is this living substance, the chlorophyll, okay, the chlorophyll inside the chloroplast, the green pigment inside the chloroplast, it actually is probably in charge of the biggest mass extinction that ever occurred on this planet. You got to figure, you go back way back in time, okay? Fix my hat here, it's a little crooked. All right, way back in time, and the Earth was not like it is today. In fact, there was very little oxygen in the atmosphere. It was mostly things like carbon dioxide and nitrogen and sulfur and things like that, okay? Not great for you to breathe in. You would die. But it was great for life. And what wasn't present in the atmosphere was oxygen, because oxygen is super reactive. Like if you remember where it is on the periodic table, way over here on the right-hand side. And here's the thing, it's really close to our noble gases right over here. And remember that oxygen really, really, really wants to be like neon. In fact, it wants to get 2 additional electrons really, really, really badly so it can be just like neon. So oxygen is a reactive element. That's why you see OxyClean. This, just throwing that out there. Not sponsoring it. But yeah, oxygen is super reactive. Chlorine is super reactive. Like these groups are reactive types of atoms. So if you put oxygen in the atmosphere, it's going to react. It's going to bond to things. It's going to change the chemistry of things. And that makes it not so great to have around if you're not used to it. Okay? So going back in time, life wasn't used to oxygen. Oxygen starts being made in the atmosphere by chlorophyll, by bacteria taking energy from the sun and turning it into sugar. As a byproduct, a waste product, oxygen in the air. Now, that's bad once it starts building up. Then all the microorganisms on the planet start to die because of this poisonous gas in the air. Biggest mass extinction probably ever on the planet. More living things probably died then because of the advent of photosynthesis. But now we got really cool things like these guys. These are plants. Plants have chloroplast. We're used to oxygen. It gave rise to a whole new way of living. You could take oxygen and you could breathe it in and you could eat plants and you could burn the sugar found in here with the oxygen in the air and you got more energy. You could unlock that chemical energy and use it to like run and jump and, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so it paved the way for different types of life forms on our planet, which is cool. So what is a chloroplast? Well, we think that a big cell found a little cell doing photosynthesis and it ate it and it all became one. Okay, inside the little cell continued to exist and do photosynthesis, and the big cell was like, well, why would I digest and eat you? You can just hang out and make sugar for me. And then I'm going to be full too. And that's probably what happened, okay? The reason is because chloroplasts, these things, they actually have their own DNA inside of it. So you can see these little bubbles here. Those are chloroplasts inside of a cell, okay? So they actually have their own DNA in there, and it's different than the cell's DNA. Why would that be? That's kind of strange and funky, unless it came from a different living thing, which it probably did. All right. But each one of these little green chloroplasts is filled with a green substance called chlorophyll. It traps this energy from light, and it uses that to put molecules together and make sugar that you and I like to eat because it's tasty and tastes good. And we use that sugar for energy. Okay? So we ultimately get our energy then from the sun, right? Because well, we eat the sugar that a plant makes, and a plant makes its sugar from the sun. So these are like little solar power plants that we eat. We get our energy from the sun. Well, we get it from a plant, which gets its energy from the sun. In fact, we're all powered by the sun. Most every living thing on the planet is powered by the sun. There is some exceptions, but most all of it powered by the sun in some way. You could be like, Mr. Drew, a lion is not powered by the sun. And I would say, what does a lion eat? And you'd be like, I don't know, a cow. And I would say, yep, a cow. What does a cow eat? And what does this eat? Nothing. It's an autotroph. It gets its food from the sunlight. It's a self-producing, it's a self-feeder. It makes its own sugar. Boom. Lion ultimately gets its energy from the sun. Okay? So, what does a chloroplast look like? Well, you're looking at it right there with a microscope image. Okay? But we can get a little bit more artsy. Like a series of stackable membranes, and inside of these membranes is a bunch of chlorophyll. It's green. Why is it green, Mr. Drill? It's reflecting green color light. Plants hate green color light. They don't use it. They throw it away. They don't even want it. What do they like? They like blue and they like red. And that's why we don't see blue and red plants that often. They absorb those colors of light and they hold it and they use that to make energy. And they don't like green. So they're like, get out of here. And they reflect green and we see green leaves with our eyes. Okay. So plants like red and blue light, don't really like green light. So if you had a green light bulb and you put it over a plant, it's going to make your plant look even more green until your plant starts to die because it doesn't use it. It just reflects it, and then it can't make sugar from it, and it dies. Sorry. You just killed your plant. Don't do it. Water your plant, give it red and green, or red and blue light, not green. Don't give it green light. And you know what? Put it in some nice soil with some little nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, stuff like that. It's going to grow really well. Okay? Just got to have the light. Red and blue light.